Hey, this is Sandy.
And Randy.
And we're here on AT Corner.
Being an athletic trainer comes with ups and downs, and we're here to showcase it all.
Join us as we share our world in sports medicine.
Welcome back to AT Corner, episode 17.
Our lucky number.
That's right, and for this episode, what are we talking about?
So we did a mix today. We're doing cryotherapy and hydration.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Water and ice.
Ice, ice, baby.
Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum.
See, we're just spitting out all the jams here.
Why don't we jump into things athletes said?
I love things athletes said.
This one's from Bethany B, and she said, during a basketball game, a kid was cramping so hard we got him off the court and I offered him the stick roller so he could relieve the cramp. The kid took the roller, smacked himself in the leg, said, "Ow, that didn't work. Get me the mustard."
No way. There's no way that kid thought that would work.
I guess. I mean, if you're cramping pain,
I guess you'll try anything?
Do you remember what a stick roller does?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I don't think cramping should affect your brain.
No, unless you had a brain cramp. I don't think the stick would help for that one. But, I mean, I think that was a great tie-in to our episode because he might need some cryotherapy depending on how hard he hit himself.
I know, right? And we actually have someone who wrote in and said they use mustard for cramps.
Yeah, that's gotta taste bad. I'd rather have the pickle juice.
Brandon S. messaged us on Instagram and said, most unique way to treat cramps that I've used is packets of mustard. One of my athletes actually requests it to be in their med kit for away games.
Why would you request that? Oh.
Most of the time he would do it between warm-ups and tip-off as opposed to acute treatment for cramps. So it's like preventative.
He's going for the prophylaxis.
So he's choosing to eat mustard. A whole packet.
Ugh. I'm grossed out.
I thought you liked mustard.
I do not like mustard.
Oh, apparently I'm not in the know. So anyway.
See, we're learning things on this show about each other.
I hate mustard. When he was telling me this, I was like, oh, I'd rather deal with the cramp.
Can we get that sound one more time?
No, you'll have to listen to the recording for that. So Brandon said he'd usually just squeeze the packet into his mouth all at once and then chase it with water right away.
Oh, at least he had a chaser.
I asked him if it worked, and he said, yeah, most of my athletes are pretty good about emphasizing proper hydration and pregame fueling to minimize the occurrence of cramps. It's interesting to consider if it was truly physiologically beneficial or if it became more of a mental thing for him as well.
We should probably do a cramping education episode because the literature out there is vast.
You would know.
I can't remember. Did you sit on that session for VNATA, the cramping one?
I think I did.
Yeah, we should at some point try and digest all that. Get it? Digest. You know, when cramping, you always give like something to ingest.
Not always.
I know not always, but
the mustard.
That was being ingested.
Hey, do you want more cramping stories? I have more cramping stories. Morgan.
I thought we were talking about cryotherapy.
We have two more cramping stories, I think. Three more. We have three more cramping stories.
I think we want to hear more cramping.
Okay, so Morgan V, I was also talking to her on Instagram, and she said, working as an intern at high schools, pickle juice has a lot of success with hydration. Cramps seem to go away within 5 minutes of ingestion. And it depends on the severity. Usually half a cup will do. That's a lot of pickle juice.
I would rather have the pickle juice than mustard.
Honestly, I'm surprised you said... Oh, I know you like pickles, but
I do like pickles.
I was just about to say that if you don't like mustard, I feel like you're usually in the same boat of not liking pickles.
The pickle juice. Oh,
yeah. Like me, I would not want either.
Just stay hydrated.
But she said they normally just drink their water during games as well. And then she also suggested this thing called liquid IV. Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of this.
She said it's a powder that's great for hydration. It's like Gator Lights, but it tastes way better. The athletes
thank God.
Yeah, exactly. I would take that. I mean, I've never tried it, but I'm gonna blindly say that I would take that over pickle juice and mustard.
So that reminds me, when I was a student, one of my sites before football games, we would do like some kind of salt tablet or electrolyte tablet. And for it to get broken down and absorbed better, for the athletes, they would chew it and then chase it with water. So I was like, well, we're making the athletes, do this. I should try it.
I love that philosophy.
See, what it experienced, so I can at least tell them what to expect if someone didn't know. So before the game, I took the salt tablet deal and I chewed it. That was the worst decision I've ever made. I had salty taste for the entire first half.
Ugh.
It was disgusting. I couldn't shake it. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get that taste out of my mouth.
You know what? I'm not a salt person either.
It was no bueno.
Another cramping story. This is from Sarah B. She said, we had an athlete go into full body cramps once, but we were able to manage it so we didn't have to send.
Nice.
But then, rapidly cooled down their body enough where they started shivering. It was hectic, so they went from cramping to shivering.
Man, they just went to both ends of the spectrum there.
I feel like this belongs in the weather episode, but like body weather.
Body weather?
Yeah.
What is body weather?
Like
I don't
your
know.
Temperature.
When people listen to this, they're gonna ask, what the heck happened? We are recording this late at night, so we're trying to pull this together.
You know what? This is exactly why I didn't want to be behind the mic, because I was like, I'm going to say something weird and people are going to pick it out.
That's not true. That's probably what makes this show better.
Anyway, she wrote that it was definitely more of a hydration / glucose / it's late. Acclimation / heat illness response. We were able to stop it before it completely affected the upper extremities, and the kid never had a repeat, thankfully. And she also added that it was in a place that was super hot in Redlands.
So that's a more inland in Southern California, which means it gets toasty.
And they were from a cooler area, so the whole acclimatization thing, trying to get from that cooler area. I mean, I don't even like it closer to the coast, how hot it gets sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty inland. Okay, last cramping story.
Let's do it.
This one's from Jen. Another gem from Jen.
Ooh, we should make a segment for that.
Oh, gems from Jen.
I feel like she would be down.
Seriously, I'm down. Second week as an intern AT. Yes, I'm old. Florida, August. Men's soccer preseason double sessions. It's hot. It's humid. I'm going through 3 shirts a day. Had talked a lot about climatization and watching out for the English kids because they probably weren't used to the heat. Who goes down first? The kid from Mississippi. He's cramping to the point where you could see his quads spasming. Off to the ER we go. He needed 4 liters of fluid before he peed.
Oh my goodness, 4 liters?
Then he quit the team 2 days later.
I like the curveball of the athlete from a traditionally hot, humid area is the one that went down cramping.
Exactly. You can't always predict these things. So,
I mean, if you could, we would all be millionaires.
Yeah, but no job security.
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay, so I know that we totally hijacked and jumped right into the stories. I think we should go back to things athletes said.
Do we have multiple?
We have another one from Heather B.
Man, I wish I should be paying attention to the list that we have.
No, you're not allowed to read ahead.
No, I don't. I just try and get names down to know where we're at.
I know, I'm scrolling so way. Okay,
where is this show going? I feel like the GPS is broken. We went down cramping, athlete said, and then we're going to hydration station.
You know what this reminds me of? This is when I'm like scrolling through social media and you're looking over my shoulder. Okay, Randy reads way slower than I do, and he has the audacity to ask me to go back to a post that he wasn't done reading yet when I scroll past it.
I have to digest the information.
Get your own social media.
You're better at it than I am.
So anyway, Heather B said, A college wrestler didn't know girls could get kidney stones because, quote unquote, they didn't have the right parts. So I had to inform him that girls do, in fact, pee and have kidneys.
Man, I think the surprising part is a college wrestler.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's... Oh, boy. Health class in high school and middle school did not go well for him.
I know. What do you think kidney stones? I mean, it has it in the name, kidney stones. I'd hope you'd realize that everyone has kidneys.
Apparently not.
Man, kidney stones
But
suck.
do adults have kidneys? Get it? Because kid knees? Or do they have adult knees?
They have kidneys.
I'm sorry. It's late. We're crushing it.
Okay, let's get into the... We want to do some cryotherapy stories?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So Allie G wrote in and said, we've been using our ice bath to bleach our water bottles after games since we can't use it for ice baths right now. Well, I started to fill it up, and then I got called over to soccer practice for an injury and completely forgot to turn it off. One of my coaches texted me and said I almost flooded the ATR.
Ooh, that's tough. And you know what? I think every athletic trainer at some point has overflowed the whirlpool.
We asked this on our Instagram.
Yes, and our good friend Bill brought that up to us that should be a question.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
It's funny, that story reminded me when I was a student, one of my buddies was coming into our rotation, so at the time we didn't stay with the rotation the full semester, so we'd rotate. And he came on a Friday night football game because we were at the high school at the time, and to observe to see how we got things going. So when he actually came into the rotation, he'd be ready to go. Now it's Friday night. It's a game. Game finished up. So we're talking, we're probably around 10:30, getting close to 11. Just clean up the athletic training room. We're trying to get out of there. Well, one of the jobs was to empty the whirlpool. And I can't remember why we had to be careful emptying it. I don't know if it was because the water drained faster than the water would go into the drain pipe faster than could actually drain.
I think that's what happened when I overflowed it.
So, anywho, my buddy who was just coming in was trying to be helpful and we're draining the whirlpool, and drained it. We left the room to put something away, and we came back. The floor was, I'm talking the whole athletic training room flooded, where we had to get wires off the ground. Oh my goodness. We had to stay an extra, hour to clean this up after a Friday night game, and we were already wanting to go home.
How did you clean it up? Did you just, sweep the water into the drain, or, what kind?
We pushed some outside. We grabbed towels. It was a disaster. Safe to say, we never let him live that down.
Oh, no, you can't.
And what a great way to start your rotation, by the way. I'm sure we should do an episode like that.
I think we're going to.
Preceptor's first impressions.
No, Randy, perfect segue.
And I didn't even mean to.
Sophia W. said, one of my classmates was moving a full 10-gallon water jug during practice. He dropped it and broke the spout off.
Oh, bad news.
Oh, on the first day of a new clinical site, right in front of his entire team and a new preceptor.
Oh, man.
From then on, they called him Butterfingers. When he left, the team got together and gave him a gift bag full of Butterfingers.
Oh, that's nice.
Fitting. It's fitting.
Very fitting.
I want to highlight that not only did he drop the water, but it broke the spout.
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating. Especially if you don't have spare parts. And then you have to, it's not a big deal, but then you have to order a new spout, and that's a whole 10-gallon out of commission. What a way to start.
Well, and I responded to her, and I was like, wow, that sucks so bad, but I'm so glad it wasn't Gatorade.
Oh, that's a disaster. Ugh.
Yeah. It would have been sticky and gross and
all that wasted Gatorade.
Speaking of Gatorade, we also have Gatorade stories.
Man, this trip is getting back on track.
Okay, I better not miss any because I'm literally scrolling up and down through all of our stories. They're not in the order I put them in. This is called spontaneous podcasting. Hailey, my very first preceptor, wrote in and said, in college, when we would mix the Gatorade for game day, sometimes we got creative. We would typically have 2 to 4 10-gallons if it was on each sideline, depending on the sport. We always had one that was full of a dark red concoction, which we never wanted to spill in fear of staining, like we were talking about before, and we would call it blank blood, and insert the mascot of the team we were playing, such as Duck Blood or Bruins Blood.
I'm offended. I did not read this. I mean, I never read the stories ahead of time, but I need to have a word with Hailey. This is unreal. Go Ducks.
Yeah, it's dark, but when you're working anywhere from 6 to 10-hour days as an AT student, your mind goes wild.
I'm sure the athletes loved it, by the way.
We also enjoyed Hulk juice, which was bright green, or Frankenstein juice, which was dark green, and we always got repeat requests for those.
So I would usually name our Gatorade either like PR juice, because I worked a lot of track, so like, PRs. If I work like team sports, like if it's soccer, I name it goal juice. Yeah, we're real creative over here.
I've never named my Gatorade.
That seems problematic. You gotta name the Gatorade. It's gotta have a name.
I feel like that's super odd. I didn't know that people named... I feel like I name everything, but I don't name Gatorade. Is this something people do?
Apparently.
We have like 3 stories of people naming Gatorade.
So now, this wouldn't be an athletic training podcast unless we talked about the formula to make Gatorade.
What's the formula?
Well, I was just about to ask you, what's your process when you make Gatorade?
I don't really make Gatorade.
So my process...
If you want to know how not to do it...
What are you talking about? This?
No, I'm talking about me.
Oh. So this is by far the best way to make Gatorade, and it is instant satisfaction. So what I do is I put the hose in, and I turn the water on low, so it's like a nice, easy stream. Then I pour the powder in, because I'm minimizing the dust that likes to fume out if you just pour it in right away. And then I fill it up maybe about halfway. I start mixing with ice, so I'll throw ice and then mix it together, because then the Gatorade's nice and cool, so it's ready to be enjoyed right away. After I stir with the ice and it's all cooled down, I top it off with some more water, finish off with some ice. You're good to go.
If you put in ice and then powder, you're canceled.
Yeah, I don't like it. It looks weird. I don't know.
It doesn't mix right.
It's weird. But no offense if you do that.
No, you're canceled. Full offense.
Man, we're going savage on this episode. Episode 17. This is the raw edition.
So, Becca said that her men's water polo team would call Gatorade that sweet because they liked their Gatorade super concentrated. We went to play UCLA in water polo, and we're a low-tier D1, so we were going to get killed. The boys go to the 10s UCLA has set up and get Powerade from it, and they come running to me saying it's the best sweet they've ever had. I go and try it. Y'all, it was pure Powerade syrup. I couldn't believe they liked it. Then they asked why their Gatorade didn't taste like that. My only response was, that's the taste of winning national championships. Maybe next year, guys.
Ooh, got 'em. But you know what? They were the ones throwing shade first.
I know.
So I feel like they had that one coming.
Yeah, if you dish it, you gotta be able to take it. So she also wrote, this is the first one she actually wrote in. She said, my preceptor never threw out leftover Gatorade. Ever.
Before I comment, I want to see where the story goes.
And I was like, okay, that got me hooked. I was like, please, I need details. So then she said it was a small school and they had a limited budget, so my preceptor wouldn't want Gatorade to go to waste, which I totally get. Which is kind of sucky because if you think about like all the colleges that have like literally cabinets full of Gatorade.
So much Gatorade, we don't even know what to do with it.
Exactly.
But it is terrible to make and clean up.
Ugh, I hate cleaning up Gatorade, which is why I don't like to make it. See? It's called prevention.
What are you preventing?
Cleaning. You know who does the dishes here?
That would be me.
Like, 99% of the dishes are done by Randy.
I have no problem with cleaning.
And like 98% of the laundry is done by me. So
I do not like laundry.
There we go. We split it up. It's easy. So,
especially towels. Like if you're in a place where you have to launder your own towels. I hate doing the laundry. I hate sitting there.
Really?
Oh yeah, I hate sitting there folding them. It's just so tedious.
I love doing the laundry.
And that's why she does 98%.
That's why I do all of the laundry and he does all the dishes. Because I despise doing the dishes. And he despises doing laundry. It just makes sense. So anyway, we hijacked Becca's story. Oh, that was a perfect cliffhanger. See, it was planned. We're just making people suspense.
I think this show has been the opposite of planned.
Yeah, I really hope that I'm not going to miss a story as I'm like scrolling through. Anyway. So, if the Gatorade was about a third full or more, we'd keep it and add ice to it so it's not going to waste. It then got to the point that he wouldn't dump it if it was a quarter or less. He would just add a new powder pack to it and mix it in with the old stuff. This is where I add it was not the same flavor as the prior flavor. This continued to where we have no idea what the original flavor was, but it was this gross swamp watercolor, and of course the athletes weren't drinking it because it tasted horrible. So my classmate and I started dumping it behind our preceptor's back and telling him they drank it all so we could get them fresh Gatorade that actually tasted the way it was supposed to.
That is so gross. Oh, no.
But you know,
I'm fine with keeping Gatorade, like maybe a few days until, depending on how often it's being consumed.
Yeah.
But to just not clean the thing and just add more, that cooler had to have been disgusting.
Okay, I want to know how disgusting the lids of coolers are. You know how they have that tiny hole, and when it rains, they get water in them?
No, you don't ask that question. You don't want to know the answer.
No, I asked the question, I just don't get an answer for it.
I feel like it's not going to look good. We should cut one open and see what it looks like.
You just said I don't get the answer to that question.
No, I was saying you don't want the answer to that question.
And now you're telling me that we should do it?
Why not?
Bad influence. So Jessica, this is our last Gatorade story, I believe, if I did not leave any out. Jessica G said, I mix yellow and purple Gatorade powder sometimes. It comes out looking like a dark brown color and I call it lake water. Again, more people naming their Gatorade.
You see, this is a thing.
It must be a creative thing. It always freaks my freshman football players out because I tell them I went to get some water out of the lake in the park by our high school, and then they try it and they're amazed at how good it tastes.
Freshmen are so gullible.
I love the freshmen.
Which, by the way, what favorite flavor of Gatorade is yours?
Ooh, I like the clear one, or like the...
Yeah, the cherry?
Mm-hmm.
I love the cherry. I love the purple. That, apparently, that is not a popular opinion.
Oh, ugh. Did you say purple?
I love the purple. I think it's Riptide Rush.
Ew.
If I got that wrong, Gatorade, you can please correct me.
Or don't.
Or don't. I mean, yeah, it's a 50-50 shot on one of those. But the cherry, I love the cherry.
Okay, so this one is not Gatorade. It's a... Actually, I'm just going to read it. Aimee S. wrote it.
All right.
She said, during a lightning delay at practice, I was inside with one of my linemen during ankle rehab. He had just finished a slush bucket when I started on another athlete. Well, I heard a little sloshing of the bucket behind me, and then the back door closed shut. But the athlete had left. A few minutes later, my center came in, and he filled his water bottle out of my slush bucket. He looked at me and just said, "You always have the best water." I was so dumbfounded I couldn't even speak.
No, poor guy. That was gross.
Okay, if this were you, would you tell the kid what he just done?
I would absolutely tell him immediately. I'd be like, dude, you know what? You just drank foot water.
Okay, you know what this reminds me of? Okay, you guys know how I don't do dishes, right? So, at my parents' house, my mom doesn't like it when we leave our water glasses in the sink. So we leave them next to the sink. And I always leave my water, the same water glass, so I can drink out of it all day long. Just like a few weeks ago, I found out that some of my family members and Randy were filling up their glasses, their pint glasses that look exactly like my water glass, like that had whatever they were drinking in it. Chocolate milk
residue.
Juice, whatever. And they would fill them with water and put them next to my water glass. I had zero clue that they were just filling up their old glasses, their dirty glasses, and I would go over and drink that water and for a long time. So I did not find this out until recently.
So I had no idea you were doing that.
I was so disgusted. You guys, I do this every day. I would go drink out of the disgusting chocolate milk glass filled with water.
That's gross. I don't know why you did that.
Yeah, I know. Now I don't do it. Now I have a designated spot on our countertop that this is where my water glass goes. No one else puts a water glass anywhere near it. Disgusting. But at least it didn't have feet in it.
Yeah, the foot water,
I can
that's
deal
disgusting.
with a little bit of chocolate milk residue, I guess. Alright, here's another. Let me go back to the top so we don't miss any. This one's from Justin P. He said, in 1 week, I had one football player go into full body cramps. Oh, this is kind of a mix of everything. I had one football player go into full body cramps after practice, one with heat exhaustion that rode to the edge of going into shock. One had a calf cramp so bad from the sideline it looked like he tore his Achilles.
Ouch.
Ugh, I know, terrible. The same week, cross-country runner passed out while running and hit his head on the ground because he hadn't had enough to eat or drink.
Rookie move, cross-country runner.
And I've lost count of the number of times someone, myself included, let the ice bath overflow.
That is so stressful because you're trying to time it just right. And oh, I got time, I'll go do this, and then you forget.
I always set a timer.
Well, that's the smart thing to do.
Well, when I was working with Pam, she was like, okay, this is how long it takes. So then I would just set my timer to that.
Nice.
I mean, if you just dedicate one day, it probably takes depending on how big it is, 8 to 15 minutes to fill up the whirlpool. You just have to take 18 to 15 minutes one day, and then you can set a timer every time you turn on the hose and never ever forget again. Unless you forget to set the timer.
Or you could live on the edge.
No. So this is still Justin's story. Another story hijacked. Look at this. We're on a roll. My basketball team at the time always set their cooler up on the stands next to them. Oh, I know where this is going. I mean, I already read the story, but I forgot it, so I already know where this is going.
So you forgot it, but you know where this is going.
Yeah, when you watch the end of a movie, and then you, haven't seen it for a few years, and then you, go and watch it again, and you're like, oh, I know who did it at the end.
All right, let's do this.
During one game, a group of kids went running down the bleachers and shook them so much the cooler fell off and splashed onto the court. I had to yell at the officials to stop the game to get it cleaned up.
That cleaning up a basketball court is the worst thing ever. And especially if if those are full coolers, that is going to take you forever to clean that up.
I can actually picture the story as it's happening because one of the athletic training students did this in his first week when I was an observation student on the basketball court.
Oh, man.
And so, as this is happening, I just picture... And we don't have, huge towels. We only have the little ones, so it was just, my job was to run and get the towels. And it totally delayed the game.
Oh, for sure, because it takes forever to wipe all that up.
Let's get into cryotherapy.
I mean, we talked about the water and Gatorade. Now it's time for the rocks.
Okay, so it's kind of funny because this is like supposed to be a mix, but I think we only have like 3 cryotherapy stories.
I feel like I might have some for you.
Okay, let's go into it. So Lindy QC said, I worked with collegiate track. Ooh, your favorite, Randy.
I know that life.
We had a number of athletes from Barbados because our head coach was from there. Oh, that's cool. One woman had a reaction to ice. It gave her hives. When we told her she had an allergy, she wouldn't believe us. She kept thinking we were taking advantage of her lack of Illinois weather knowledge to fool her. Our team physician had to explain it to her, and she finally believed us. That's funny.
That's pretty good.
You know what? I mean, I think if someone told me, like, before I knew about ice injuries, like, how can you be allergic to ice? That's such a weird thing.
I've had an athlete allergic to ice.
Yeah?
Yeah. Except for the interesting thing, and I can't explain it. So she would be allergic to any, like, whirlpool, ice pack, ice massage, but the Game Ready.
Oh.
That was the only cryotherapy she could do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she was allergic to the Game Ready, and I was like, whoa.
No, she was not. I can't explain it. I don't know why. If someone has the answer to that, I would like to know. But
maybe because the coding? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's the only thing I can think of. But then, like, it had to have been something cold because the whirlpool also got her. So, yeah, it was really weird.
Getting in the whirlpool is a lot colder than the Game Ready.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so Jessica G said that she had an athlete allergic to the Flexi wrap that holds on the ice.
Okay.
She said, I'm not sure what happened because we've wrapped ice on him before with the same stuff, but one day he came to me about 10 minutes in icing and he said he felt like it was burning. So he took the ice off and he had 2 big hives where the wrap was on his leg. So then from then on, he just sits in my office with the ice or just takes the bag home with him. No wrap.
Well, I think that's weird that it's the wrap that he's allergic to, but the plastic on the bag's not?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, right? I feel like that's been an issue, too. I feel like I've heard that somewhere where someone was allergic to the actual bag.
Really?
I feel like that sounds familiar to me.
Man, hopefully they're not an athletic trainer and they're not, like, sucking air out of it.
And then get hives around their face.
Get, like, huge lips. Unless you want that.
I mean, some people pay a ton of money for that.
Free Botox. Remember when we went to the wolf sanctuary and the wolf gave me kisses and my lips got all big?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Okay, so this one's from Juan. He said he had 2 athletes with ice allergies. But completely different presentations.
Oh, interesting.
So the first one was a football player whose reaction was getting red all over and dizzy, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, that's pretty significant.
That's what I meant to say.
See, I got you. Team effort on this show.
Juan said that in order to calm the reaction, they would place him supine with his legs elevated and wrapped in a blanket until the reaction subsided. But get this.
Okay.
Of course he insisted on taking ice baths.
I feel like why? At that point, why?
You're like, here, just take this research. It's not doing anything for you.
Which, by the way, our next episode, we'll talk about that.
Are we talking about whirlpool research?
Well, that's what most of the recovery research is on, so we'll be talking about that a lot.
Okay, I'll leave you guys on a real cliffhanger this time then. Okay, so anyway, the kid insisted on taking ice baths even though his
body didn't want him to.
Yeah, his response was very significant. So he ended up taking Benadryl every time before he went in.
So I had an athlete do this before. We were coming back from like some kind of some track meet, and they were talking about where they were going to dinner. And I hear someone like, "Oh, I'm allergic to shrimp. Hey, let's go get shrimp. I'll just take a Benadryl." What? No, don't do that.
Isn't that the thing where like it gets worse every time you're...
Yes.
I'm allergic to sunflower seeds. Are any of our listeners allergic to sunflower seeds? Because I have not met a single other person allergic to sunflower seeds.
Well, that would make working baseball tough.
Well, yeah, that's always my excuse of I've never worked baseball or softball. Well, that's a lie. I've worked softball. But I use that excuse like, well, I'm just going to stay away from the dugout.
There you go. Perfect cover.
Okay, so anyway, Juan's other kid who had an ice allergy said it was actually in his first year as an AT.
Oh, that's where the fun stories are at.
And the kid would just swell at the site, so they just limited the application to 4 to 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at least you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I mean, now that what a lot of people, how they subscribe to ice is a lot different probably than when Juan first started.
And if anything, it could be placebo. Yeah, a kid thinks it's doing something.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's like, well, what is the ice doing for you? If it's giving you an allergic reaction.
Yeah, I feel like that's not what you're shooting for when you use ice.
Speaking of ice, I remember after my per diem events when we would come home and bring the ice chest, like purposefully keep the ice chest.
Oh, yeah.
And then instead of dumping it at the event, just dump it in our backyard because our dog loved it. She would go nuts.
Oh, she would just grab some, run around.
Get the zoomies.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Randy, I think we got them all.
We managed not to skip any stories in this pieced together episode.
Well, I mean, we're probably going to be going back through when I'm editing this and be like, oh no, just kidding. I think we got all of them.
Yeah, I think we did too.
So if you guys are new here, we do every other episode as education or stories, and obviously this was a story episode, so next episode's going to be
education, and in particular, we're going to be talking about a very hot topic among sports medicine professionals.
I think you mean cold topic.
That was the joke, because hot topic, cryotherapy, hot, cold. Get it?
He's dancing.
Because it was funny.
Okay, so anyway, Randy is a super nerd and he reads a lot of articles, so if you don't, this is the perfect place for you guys to be.
Because I will digest the articles for you.
Yep. So that will be next episode, and then, of course, we're going to be back to our stories next week. Upcoming ones are going to be Halloween stories and working with pregnant athletes. Hopefully, if we get enough stories. So, we want to know, what are your superstitions? We want full moon stories. We want Halloween costumes. Anything Halloween AT related. We already have 2, actually, that I was not expecting. They're not in any of the categories I just listed. So, super exciting. We already have some. And if you want to submit your own story, you can email us at atcornerds@gmail.com. I know I said Randy's nerdy, but there's 2 of us, so.
We're both nerdy. I'm just
extremely
a lot
nerdy.
More obvious about it.
And then lastly, if you are not a member of our Facebook group yet, then come on over, join the conversation. Head over to facebook.com/group/atcornerpodcast and then network with our listeners of the show.
I feel like it's a fun group. We have some fun in there.
And you can tell all the stories you want. Anything else?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you for helping us showcase athletic training behind the tape. Bye.